Hey, my feel good friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I am cracking up right now because I am currently recording this podcast episode for you from my closet. And if you've been a longtime listener or have been with us from the beginning, which was almost 3 years ago now, I can't believe it, you may remember that I started out recording this episode from my closet way back in the day, right? Every time I had to record, I would hop in my closet. I would scoot all my shoes over. I usually was being attacked by my sweaters. My legs would fall asleep because I was sitting on the floor. And since then, I have graduated out of the closet. I got some new equipment to help make the audio quality sound a little bit better and all that jazz. However, today we are back in the closet because we are currently in South Carolina and Brett has been fixing up this house for his brother-in-law, getting it ready to sell, right? And so we are in an empty house with new wood floors and empty rooms and echoey vibes. I literally have been just going all around the house trying to find a quiet space that doesn't echo too bad or anything like that so that I can record this episode for you. However, it has proven to be very difficult. So finally, I dragged my little desk into the closet. I'm currently squished in this little closet with the desk, with the foam mic box and the microphone. And still, even in this little area, it was echoey. So then I went and grabbed one of our dog's big, puffy beds, right? And I have shoved that behind my chair. So literally there's a giant dog bed that I'm wearing on my shoulders like a shawl, it feels like. Then Brett decided to help and he thought it would be a good idea to drape one of our yoga mats over top of me from the shelf above in this closet and then over the chair too, right? So this setup is pretty ridiculous looking and hilarious. I'm going to snap a photo and share it to this episode's show notes for sure because you have got to see what this looks like right now. And still, we have echoes going on. So I don't know. I hope that this audio quality is good enough for you, my feel good friend. And I hope that a takeaway from this is that you don't have to be super professional. You don't have to have all of the best equipment or anything like that in order to show up for your people and give them value. Okay. That was one of the biggest lessons I have learned in my 4 years in business with Feel Good Social is to just show up and put yourself out there and let go of the perfectionism, let go of caring what other people think, let go of the need to be perfect, because often how you get better at things is just by starting and doing and slowly getting better at everything over time. And then eventually you just feel like you are that person who you wanted to be when you were just starting out. And sometimes you revert back to having to go into the closet again. So whatever that happens to. Anyway, that's my big takeaway and my way to justify this closet action right now. Let's talk about today's topic. I'm really stoked to chat with you today about Instagram stories and how you can use them to really nurture your ideal customers and drive sales with Instagram stories in an easy, genuine way that doesn't feel like you're just churning out content and putting it out onto Instagram and not seeing any traction with it, right? Instagram stories has literally been my favorite feature to use for Instagram lately because I find it easy, I find it relatable, I find it real and genuine. And I also find that it is the easiest way for people to interact with your brand and feel like they get to know your brand, trust your brand, and want to buy from your brand, right? So in today's episode, we're going to be talking more about the what, the why, and then also I'm going to be sharing my best tips for how I use Instagram stories in a way that I feel like is worth my time and gets me the best results. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. Hey friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social Podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I'm here to help you market your business in a genuine way that works without wasting your precious time. On this show, we chat about social media strategy and mindset tips with a focus on, you guessed it, feeling good. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some genuine conversation for the good of your biz. Do you know what your brand vibe is on Instagram? I have a new fun quiz that's just for you, my friend. I, of all people, know how hard it is to figure out how the heck you're supposed to translate your brand to the gram. And with this quick 7-question quiz, we will help you hone in on your brand's personality, voice, and visuals so that you can show up consistently and create content that looks beautiful and feels on brand for you. This quiz is so awesome. It's been a long time coming, and I know that you're going to have a lot of fun with it. Plus, the results will help you show up in the best way for you. If you'd like to check out our new brand vibe quiz, just head to feelgoodsocial.com/quiz. Pretty easy. Head to feelgoodsocial.com/quiz to find out what your brand's vibe is on social media and start showing up there for your brand. All right, my friend, before we dive into the juicy tips and tricks for Instagram story for today's episode, I want to encourage you to snap a screenshot of this episode and share it to your Instagram stories after you listen to it, especially if you find the tips that I'm sharing to be helpful. If you do, make sure that you tag me. I'm at Feel Good Social. That way I will see it. That way I will reshare it. And that way I will get overly excited and just gush about you. And thank you so much for listening and be able to follow you and connect with you over on Instagram, because that is one of my favorite things in the world when our listeners share our episodes to the Instagram stories. But make sure you tag me at Feel Good Social if you share it, because otherwise I won't be able to see it. So definitely do that if you find this episode helpful. I swear it'll make my day. Okay, Instagram stories. Let's talk about them. Firstly, real quick, what the heck am I talking about when I'm talking about Instagram stories? If you've been on Instagram for a while, you probably already know this, but quickly, Instagram stories are the types of Instagram posts that you share that are only available for 24 hours, unless you decide to pin them at the top of your profile as an Instagram story highlight, right? They are in Reels format, the vertical format, and there are lots of cool different features that you can use with Instagram stories that you can't really use with any of your other posts, right? Instagram stories have actually been one of the features that Instagram has kept fairly the same, right? There haven't been many changes to your Instagram stories over the past 2 years. And if you've been using Instagram at all, you know that there have been lots and lots of changes in other areas of the platform, right? The algorithm has changed a lot over the past few years with Instagram. However, Instagram stories, algorithm and features and the concept itself has stayed fairly the same, except for a few additional features that they've added that have been very, very helpful. So this is one of the reasons that I truly love Instagram stories itself as well, is it is one of those semi-constants when it comes to Instagram's platform, right? That's my first takeaway of why I love Instagram stories, because not a lot changes. The strategy has stayed fairly much the same. The features have stayed pretty much the same. The algorithm has stayed pretty much the same. And I love that, because that means that I can learn how to use it, create a strategy for my brand and business that makes sense for me, and just continue with that strategy without having to worry about next week Instagram introduces this new thing and my entire strategy goes off the rails, right? Another reason I really love Instagram stories is because it is only available for 24 hours, which there's something different about Instagram stories where, the the fact that it's only available for 24 hours, right? It feels exclusive. It feels more vulnerable, right? It feels more personable, and kind of like you're getting a peek into someone's life one-on-one instead of seeing someone's post that they put out into the world on your regular feed, right? It feels more intimate in that way. And so it's really, really great for driving deeper connection. Also, when you go onto Instagram, stories are available at the very top of the feed, right? So it is one of the first things that people see. Plus, the algorithm is not too difficult to figure out when it comes to Instagram stories, because once people start watching your stories and interacting with your stories on a regular basis, Instagram is more likely to have your story show up first before other people's stories in someone's feed, right? At the top of their Instagram app, I guess, or feed. And it's not confusing, right? With regular posts and the regular algorithm on Instagram lately, there's been a shift in the algorithm and lots of changes in the algorithm to where it's really, really confusing to figure out. And you have a lot more competition when it comes to Instagram suggesting other accounts and maybe or maybe not showing your followers your posts. When it comes to Instagram stories, for the most part, Instagram is showing your followers the stories of people who they are following, right? So Instagram stories, algorithm wise, you have a better chance of reaching those ideal followers who you are nurturing and potential customers who will be more likely to buy from you, right? These are all just reasons that I love to use Instagram stories. One more thing that I want to say that kind of goes off like the intimacy of Instagram stories. It's easy for you to definitely show more behind the scenes of your business, to be more vulnerable, which is awesome content for you because it allows your brand to feel more real and human and genuine, and for your ideal customers to trust you more so, right? Which leads to them liking your brand, buying from your brand, and recommending your brand, right? But also it's easier for the people watching your stories to interact with your stories, right? Because it doesn't feel like if they comment on one of your posts in the feed, then the entire world can see their comment, right? And it's a little bit nerve-wracking for people, right? People don't really want to put themselves out there quite as much. And it feels more performative. It feels like a little bit different than if someone interacts with your Instagram story by interacting with one of the features or just responding to your story that turns into a direct message, right? That feels easier for your ideal customers to do than commenting on one of your regular feed posts. And it's more intimate, like I said, right? It's easier for you guys to get the one-on-one conversation started. And the one-on-one conversations are really where you can nurture real relationships, where your ideal customers and followers can feel seen and heard and loved. They feel special. It's easier to have a conversation where you actually get to know one another and it feels friendly, right? And this is how we develop relationships with people and ultimately drive deeper connection that boosts our sales. Okay. These are all reasons that I love to use Instagram stories. It's easier to post to them just kind of in the moment in your day-to-day process, because you don't have to plan them out quite as much. You don't really have to write big, long captions or thoughtful captions. Think about it that much. Oh man, Instagram stories are just the best. Okay. So anyway, I hope I've convinced you to start using Instagram stories more often. Here is how I have been using them lately. I actually have been feeling kind of scatterbrained, if we're honest, lately when it comes to my social media strategy. Firstly, I've been planning this wedding. Brett and I are getting married on Halloween of this year. And so literally I've had 90 days to plan a wedding. Yes, it is a micro wedding. Yes, we're only inviting like 30 people. And it's small and intimate and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's still just a lot to think about and process and a lot of moving parts to to confirm, right? And all the different things. So the wedding stuff has been taking over my summer since we decided to get married this year. Also, I don't know, Instagram has just been feeling kind of weird for me lately. I haven't really been feeling that inspired or anything like that to create posts, to do all that different stuff. I've just been feeling exhausted trying to keep up with all the changes that are happening with Instagram's features and the algorithm and all the different stuff. And so I just haven't felt like creating regular posts as often as I have over the past few years, right? Leading up to this summer, I've consistently created post after post, churned out content at least 5 days a week, right? And I've developed a system that allows me to do that. It's one of the systems that I teach in the Feel Good Social Club and in my online course is how to batch create content and figure out your content pillars and easily create content for your brand in a consistent way. Create a strategy that works for you, all that stuff. However, myself, this summer, I kind of have let my own content slide. I've actually only been posting 2 times a week regularly, which is way less than I normally post for regular posts. Usually it's a podcast promo post and then some other sort of post, whatever I'm feeling like that week, right? And I pair those regular posts with Instagram stories. Usually like 5 days a week is what I do for Instagram stories. And interestingly enough, just those 2 regular posts paired with Instagram stories, my engagement is still very high with my audience. And I've actually gained followers. Like my net followers, I have gained followers in the past 2 months of just posting 2 regular feed posts and then stories 5 times a week, right? Which is interesting for me to see that that's what's happening, because a lot of times people just say you have to post a reel a day, 2 reels a day, 3 reels a day in order to see success on Instagram, right? And no one is really talking about posting less to your feed and showing up on stories more. I just started doing it kind of because it had to happen that way with me planning the wedding and feeling uninspired for Instagram, but realizing that I like Instagram stories. So I started leaning into those on accident, and here's what happened, right? But, I think that it's actually a really smart strategy, especially if you're a business like me who doesn't need to go viral necessarily. I'm not trying to be a content creator. I don't really care that much about growing my audience quickly or anything like that. No, what I care about is building community for my business. Building relationships and cultivating real relationships with my ideal customers who I hope will join my online membership because they enjoy getting to know me, they trust my advice, and they just really want to join an online membership that's going to make them feel like they can show up as themselves online in a way that feels good to them, right? And showing up on Instagram stories has been super helpful because it allows people to get to know me and see behind the scenes of my business, hear my advice in like a genuine, no pressure way, right? And have those conversations behind the scenes that feel more intimate for people and allow them to trust me more so, right? So that's what I've been doing really all summer, posting 2 regular feed posts a week. Usually they are both reels. And if we're honest, they're kind of hit and miss with how they perform, right? My posts have been, some of them perform fairly well and some of them are kind of duds out of those 2 a week. But oh well, because I've been posting daily to my Instagram stories. And when I say daily, I usually do take the weekends off of Instagram stories. So 5 times a week, usually 5 days a week is when I post my stories. And usually it's not really planned that much, right? Usually it's just sharing a little something about my day, how I start my day, my coffee, what I'm wearing, a photo of my dogs, right? A photo of the alligators out back in the backyard of this house where we are because I'm obsessed with these alligators in the lagoons. They're crazy. But usually I just share something like behind the scenes of my daily life. Usually I will share polls or ask my audience questions that gets them engaged with my stories. Usually I will share kind of a behind the scenes of what I'm working on that day and maybe explain a hot tip about this topic or just explain a little bit about the subject that I'm talking about or why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. And then, sometimes I'll reshare other people's posts. Sometimes I don't know, show myself like going on a midday run or whatever that looks like. But just showing up regularly on my Instagram stories, I am actually getting really high engagement, really great visibility still. And I'm having the people respond to my polls, my interactive features, but also respond to my stories to give their opinion, to cheer me on, to ask a question, right? And having those conversations with people is so, so valuable for me because I get to know my ideal customers by name. I get to know what their struggles are. I get to learn what they're interested in. If they're interested in similar things that I'm interested in, I get to know their sense of humor. If they're laughing at something that I'm laughing about that I posted on my stories, right? I get to know them better, which is so valuable for me and my business. And also, they get to know me better. They get to feel like they are having these conversations with me, learning about me and who I am, relating to me, feeling like they can trust me, feeling special because I respond to them and I have conversations back and forth with them. And it's just this really genuine way to cultivate a relationship that will hopefully eventually lead to them either wanting to sign up for the Feel Good Social Club or recommending me to one of their friends who may need the Feel Good Social Club's help as well, right? I absolutely love Instagram stories because it's so easy to show up online in a daily casual way, and it really, really does the most, I think, to build those relationships and boost sales directly or indirectly by word of mouth marketing online, right? So I want to encourage you to start using Instagram stories more often. And I've got to tell you, if you can only post once a week, but show up on your stories 5 times a week, that is amazing. And you will still get results in that way. Real quick, have I invited you to join the Feel Good Social Club yet? Oh man, my friend, I would love for you to check out our new monthly membership for down-to-earth entrepreneurs who are ready to create content with ease, actually show up and strategically market your business online every month, and also make friends with rad down-to-earth entrepreneurs who are just like you, who get it, who are in the posting trenches with you, and who are ever ready to give you a friendly air high five or kick in the accountability booty whenever you need it. The Feel Good Social Club is where it is at. Check it out, feelgoodsocial.com/club. In the club, we have a content library full of Canva templates and tutorials and resources to help you make content creation as easy as possible. We also have monthly content planning workshops where we all come together and talk about the upcoming month's strategy for our content. And we also have community forums where you can get together, ask questions of other club members, brainstorm ideas, ask for feedback. So definitely check it out, feelgoodsocial.com/club. Our Feel Good members are seriously some of the most amazing people that I have ever met. And I would love for you to join us, feelgoodsocial.com/club. Check it out. Join today. We would love to see you in there, my friend. All right, let's dive back into today's episode. So here are some of my favorite tips when it comes to using Instagram stories in helpful ways that not only boost your performance with the stories algorithm, but also helps you cultivate those genuine relationships with your ideal customers who are viewing your stories and responding to your stories. Okay. So here is my usual go-to strategy when it comes to Instagram stories. I don't really plan out stories very often unless I am like going through a launch or something like that, and I want to specifically show up on stories in a very specific way, right? But usually my daily plan, I already kind of described this, but it's show up in the morning and just share something relatable and eye-catching and interesting, a daily moment every morning, whatever I'm looking at, whatever I'm drinking, a selfie of me, a photo of my dog, my computer, my office setup for the day, right? Maybe an alligator out back, something that I notice every morning. I'll show up and put like a personal photo as my first story of the day, because I think that just sets the tone for the day, right? So like I said, I like to show pictures of my dog, a selfie of me, my coffee, my office setup, something outside my window that's interesting to me. That first story as like a casual wave hello to people, good morning to people, is really great because it just helps people relax and feel more comfortable as they're watching your stories, right? And they're like, oh, hey, it's Kinsey again. What's she got going on today, right? Sometimes I will share my to-do list for the day, which I have actually heard from several Feel Good Social Clubbers and other people in my audience that they really like to see my to-do list, which I think is so funny. So usually I'll just like share a casual snapshot of something and just write my today's to-dos and then put text overlay saying, create templates for the Feel Good Social Club coaching call with my client, Tanya, or something like that, right? Whatever I have to do for the day, I will put my to-do list on there. And also, I think it's hilarious because usually I don't end up getting everything done, and my to-do list tasks definitely carry over to the next day. But oh well, we're just being real here, right? And your audience loves it when you're real too. And I think my audience does too, right? I usually like to start my stories somewhere in the first 3 stories that I share. I like to add a poll using the interactive poll feature, right? The poll sticker. And I like to do this. I love using polls. That's like one of my favorite features of the Instagram stories because they're super, super easy for people to respond to, right? People love giving opinions. People love voting on polls for whatever reason. But if someone votes on your poll in the first few stories of your day, I believe that Instagram's algorithm is more likely to continue showing that person your stories throughout the day and into the future, right? The more people interact with your stories by interacting with one of the interactive features and or responding to your story with a message, the more Instagram's algorithm is going to show that person your stories because they're interacting with your stories. And that indicates to the algorithm that that person is interested in your stories, right? So a poll every day, if possible, is awesome. They're very easy for people to respond to. And I really like to do it in the first 2 to 3 stories that I share every day because I just like to set that tone in the beginning of the day, so that Instagram continues to show those people who vote on my poll that my stories throughout the day, right? It's just kind of a nice way to kick off your stories every day. And it's fun. So when it comes to sharing Instagram stories, polls, the one tip that I have for you is to just make it as easy and comprehensive. I don't know if that's a word I was looking for straightforward, easy and straightforward as possible, right? So don't ask like a long question that's hard to read, right? Ask, what's your morning drink? Coffee or tea, right? Ask, which one do you like better? And then show them 2 of your outfits that you're deciding on, right? Let them vote on which outfit you're going to wear for the day. Ask, did you know that this is available? Yes. No, right? Make whatever your poll is very easy for the day. I really like my most voted on polls are the coffee or tea question, right? What's your favorite morning drink, coffee or tea? And then also, what's the weather looking like in your area today? sunshine, rain. Sometimes I'll add a snow symbol too, depending on what's doing in Colorado that day, right? But those are super, super easy, relatable polls that everyone can vote on. And there's no pressure, right? They don't feel like they're being sold to. They don't feel like they have to admit to doing something wrong or not knowing something. And it will indicate to the algorithm that your stories are valuable to the people who are watching them, and they'll continue to see your stories throughout the rest of the day, right? So that is something that I like to do in my first few stories of the day. Usually after that, I will share a mixture of different things that happen throughout the day, right? Usually it's a mix of behind the scenes of what I'm working on, right? And for me, as a social media marketer, usually that has to do with my computer. So I will literally whip out my phone and record a video of my computer screen. And I know that that sounds janky and I know it sounds unprofessional, but I gotta tell you, it works and people love it. And, it feels more real and relatable. And like I'm literally sending this video to a friend instead of making it look all fancy, right? And that helps people get to know, like, and trust me more so. So what does your work look like throughout the day? Just try to remember to snap a photo of whatever the heck it is you're working on or do a quick little video. And it doesn't have to look nice. It just has to be real. And usually what I will do is add text that kind of explains what I'm working on, takes people through the story of my day, right? So if I am working on outlining my podcast episodes for the month, I'll take a video of my computer. I'll kind of like show people how I outline every episode, take them through the calendar, and I'll say, add text on top of the video that says, outlining my monthly podcast episode topics. Here's what it looks like, right? I like to think of the sequence of events and think about the people who are watching my stories and make sure that I'm giving them context as to what I'm doing and explaining myself in that way. I also, if I'm showing behind the scenes of my work, I like to share a tip of some sort that is helpful for my ideal customers who are viewing my stories, right? So maybe I'll show them a behind the scenes of how I outline my monthly topics for my podcast episodes. And then I'll share a hot tip about how, looking at your entire month of content and choosing a weekly topic or theme to talk about is super, super helpful in the batch planning process or something like that. A takeaway from the work that I'm doing that can then be implemented by by my ideal customers who are watching my stories, right? That's always super helpful for people. I also, throughout my day, like to share funny moments that happen that make me chuckle, right? Or like relatable moments that happen that are just like show my human side of my personality. Maybe my dog is like chasing his tail beside me, right? Or like squeaking his toy when I'm like trying to record a podcast episode. I'll take a quick video of that and just add text to give context so that people know what I'm telling them or showing them, right? I will share like a photo of my outfit and be like, I got cute for my Zoom call today or something like that, right? Just this morning, I shared my first story of the day was like my outfit and with the text on the story saying that Brett thought I looked cute, which, hair flip. But like people love it. I've already gotten multiple hearts on my story, which means people like it, right? And multiple people responding to the story saying like, you always look cute, girl. I'm like, thank you, but I love that because it allows people to get to know you, to chuckle at the same things you chuckle at throughout the day, to relate to the same relatable moments that they are probably having with their kids or dogs as well. And also usually those are the types of stories that people will respond to, and that will allow you to get the conversation started, right? So when it comes to sharing stories for your brand throughout the day, it's a mix. It's a mix of the personable, relatable stuff of that, allowing them to get to know you as a person. It's a mix of like the behind the scenes of your business, showing your process, allowing them to understand, oh, Kinsey does social media marketing, right? Oh my gosh, that's a great insight. It's a really great tip that she shared. That's great insight that she has. Oh wow, she does a great job with this. I feel like I want to go to her next time I need help, right? How can you show behind the scenes for your business that shows your customers how you work, shows them what an expert you are in your field without telling them and without saying, buy from me, right? This is like so great when it comes to selling, ultimately, because it makes your customers realize, oh, this girl does this work. She seems really good at it. I love her process. I love how real she is. She gives me great tips behind the scenes. I want to work with her next time I need whatever the heck she's selling, right? It and often what your stories can do is help to boost, like bolster your ideal customer's purchasing decision to buy from you, right? Without you even selling to them. It's so funny. I get a lot of DMs and inquiries about how people can work with me, or, questions about the Feel Good Social Club when I haven't really posted a sales post in a long time on social media. And it's because I just share behind the scenes of my work and people get to know me and what I do without me really straight up selling to them. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't post sales posts on social media or anything like that, but your stories can really help to move people in the direction of wanting to buy from you. And then the next time that you post a sales post, like now open for 2022 inquiries. Sorry, I'm like, what year is it? Now booking for 2023, new product drop. Like, here it is. They're like, oh yeah, I've been waiting for this, because they already know that they want to buy from you, right? So, I don't know, you guys, Instagram stories is just the best. And I very, very much recommend that you start using them more so. And really, my last final takeaways are that they don't have to be planned out. You just need to show behind the scenes a mixture of personal content and just show up regularly and be active on the platform. It's super easy. Just remember who you are speaking to, give context with the text that you're putting on your Instagram stories. And my final piece of advice is that when people do respond to your stories, whether that's responding to one of your polls, or especially if people are DMing you, right? If they're hitting the little heart button and quote unquote liking your story, or if they're taking the time to type up a message to you being like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Where'd you get it? Or, oh, that totally happened to me last week. Or, oh my gosh, I feel this so hard. Or I literally laughed out loud when I saw this story. Or so whatever they decide to tell you, make sure you are responding to people's messages. Okay. Make sure you are utilizing those conversations and responding to people being, heck yeah, I totally agree, right? Being like, oh my gosh, you have to send me a photo of the time this happened to you, right? Or, oh man, I got this cute dress at blah, blah, blah website. Like, here's the link, like whatever they're messaging you, make sure that you're responding in a real way, making sure that you are continuing those conversations over time. And that's how you will develop and nurture relationships with your ideal customers. Okay. We cannot be putting ourselves out there on the platform in general, but especially on Instagram stories, and then ignoring the people who are trying to connect with us. Like, those direct conversations and real relationships that you are developing is what is going to get you the most sales and make Instagram the most worth your time. Okay. Okay. I know that this episode is probably a little bit all over the place. I'm feeling a little bit scatterbrained. But I hope that everything I shared was super helpful for you. I hope that you do feel inspired to start using Instagram stories more often. I have seen really great results from them personally. And it's just one of the best ways that you can show up online in a way that feels genuine and is easy and actually boosts your sales and helps your business. Okay. So start using Instagram stories. I dare you to show up at least one time this week. Okay. Okay. Let's call it this. However often you are showing up on Instagram stories now, I want you to try to show up twice as often this week. Okay. And see what happens. Let me know. I'm at Feel Good Social on Instagram. I would love to connect with you over there if we haven't yet. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it with a friend who could also use to listen to it, and snap a screenshot and hey, share it to your Instagram stories, right? If you do, make sure that you tag me. I'm at Feel Good Social because I would love to see it. I would love to reshare it and I would love to connect with you, give you a follow, and cheer you on over there. All right. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will catch you next time I catch you. Thanks so much for listening, my friend. For show notes and a whole lot of other awesome freebies, visit feelgoodsocial.com. Simply go to feelgoodsocial.com for all the goods.